Welcome to Running It Back, the Lessons Learned from Sports podcast. If you've been listening to the show recently, you may have noticed that Tarlin wanted to talk about LIV Golf during our NBA Finals, NBA wrap-up show about Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets, the Denver Chicken Nuggets, as I like to say. This is a bonus episode. This is when we got into it a little bit about the LIV Golf and PGA Tour merger, which happened recently. Show me the money. We did talk about LIV Golf a few episodes back. We'll include a link to that in the show notes for those of you who want to hear us talking more about golf and what's been going on with LIV. We'll pick it up here with Tarlin asking me about LIV Golf. Thanks as always for listening.
I know you love this topic. What do you think about the LIV PGA merger?
They are who we thought they were, is my take on that. Just because I try to speak in GIFs. And apparently it is a hard G. So a correction from a previous episode, the G is hard for some reason. I don't know.
It doesn't make sense. Good.
So confusing. To me, this is the whole, we all watch The Wire, follow the money. And the money goes back to the House of Saud.
So I just want to make sure I understand all this. Saudi money is okay now?
Saudi money is as dirty as it's ever been. I saw J.R. Smith talking about this, and he had some interesting takes where he's saying to act as though the money that's behind golf in the U.S. isn't also dirty based on the history of slavery and oppression in the U.S. and
It's comical.
The discrimination that has been really central to golf, really, and the exclusivity that has been part of the problem of golf for the whole time. So he was saying, and he might have been, floating a little bit.
It's like saying, hey, I hope Shell is the sponsor for PGA. Shell was a really great actor during the apartheid in that era.
Yeah.
Where I still to this day, my parents would never, we'd be out of the way about to run out of gas and never hit a Shell gas station.
Right.
NBA in China.
Right.
So I just think
money. I'll just finish my thought real quick. Money's dirty. It continues to be dirty. You want to stay away from the dirtiest money. Again, I'm a parent of a 4-year-old. They're going to get dirty, but you don't want to get too dirty. And to me, the problem is there should be consequences for acting
for who?
Like a douchebag. Well, for me, for the players who chased the quick cash by going to LIV.
Well, so Wilbon said, people like Tiger, he lost on $70 million, or Rory 400, Lecky 120, whatever the numbers were. And he actually had an interesting point. Someone told me, he said that they took the risk. Right. Yep. So
they'll probably be okay.
Sounds like Jay Monahan is going to, Norman thinks LIV's going to live. No, that thing is dead.
Yeah.
Why would you have some splinter group with some random 4 aces and
team golf
and 4 torque and whatever? So a lot of those guys made a lot of money, and they will probably have a half-year penalty before they can return to play on the PGA, something like that. But he is overseeing what is now LIV. He's now the guy. But it's amazing to me. Rory, he got played like a fiddle.
Yep.
I would be pissed. Supposedly there's equity in the new entity for those players that were loyal, but it just is, it's messy. At the end of the day, a couple things. Koepka winning the PGA, that was not good.
Yeah.
And then the PGA openly getting to a point where they have to really open up all their books and the players can see what they haven't been sharing. That's terrible. And last, if you're trying to compete with endless dollars and you're relying on corporate sponsors to be and ticket sales to drive, you're going to lose that game. The math doesn't work out.
Yeah.
So hysterical, comical, it's the hypocrisy. I can't even run it back. We should go to the AFL, NFL days. You can go to the ABA, NBA days. Or is it an AHL, NHL days? There's never a merger, USFL, any of that, but this is the craziest thing I've ever seen. And sort of all you can do is laugh.
Yeah. To me, I think over the full span of time, Live will be remembered like the USFL. It will ultimately be remembered as something different that happened that led to some changes down the road. There was money behind it. A now former president was behind both of these things, which is the other part around lack of accountability that is frustrating, although we'll continue to monitor whether there is any accountability for that's for our political show. We'll
I
talk
feel like
more.
you're talking about him like he's Voldemort. Like,
I try not to give him
that
power.
will not be named.
Exactly,
It's
45.
like who we talking about?
And even connecting it back to the hypocrisy, to me, the problem, and honestly, part of why Trump has had some success is that he's not a hypocrite. He's just an asshole. Like he just
Ooh,
says,
are we out? Are we allowed?
I
Wait
think
a
it's
minute.
long
We
enough. I'll
just
include
do not edit. Do
I'll
not edit
include an
this. No,
advisory
no,
on that one.
no, do not edit because I've been holding back for 60 plus shows. And
Yeah.
you, oh wow,
Shot fired.
we're on the WB forever. What network are we on now?
But to me, the thing why Trump is appealing to people is that he says the wrong things confidently and acts as though they're right. And I think people find that more refreshing than what the head of the PGA was doing, which was saying the right thing publicly, including things to families of victims of 9/11, basically taking the moral high ground in terms of what he says, while behind the scenes being truly a hypocrite, prepared to take that sweet, sweet Saudi cash. So for me, we are at a bit of a crossroads in terms of our moral compass as a society, as a broader culture. And we're asked to choose between people who are confident assholes versus people who are doubling down versus
Double up.
versus hypocrites who are eventually exposed for their hypocrisy. And at the end of the day, there's no accountability. There's just a money trail that leads back to folks who have the most money. We need to use our platforms, Tarlin, like this podcast, to present a third way, which is some sense of moral compass, some sense of propriety. But it's pretty frustrating. And sports, at the end of the day,
That being said,
it's a
PIF, if
business.
you want to sponsor our show, we're looking for sponsors. They'll also say the players are gonna have some leverage. They forcing 20 elevated events. You can only miss one. They're gonna probably back off that. There'll be a penalty for the live players. They may have worries like talking about teams, like we may be playing on teams just fine. What will happen though is the purses are gonna get bigger.
Mhm.
And so that's gotta be attractive to the other players. And they're
Wait,
gonna figure
hang
out
on. Are you talking about men's fashion, or no? You're talking about the
no,
prize money.
those are
Got it.
merces, and I
Yes.
love the, dude at the club or at the pool side, just with the merce hanging down, like, because
Oh,
you gotta be ready.
we have hoodies. What is next? Is it running it back Merces?
Oh, we're looking for swag for my all hands for my team. Instead of like the duffel bag, I gotta get the merce for everyone.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
So anyways, we will see, and also, even though Tiger maybe only play a couple events, they're gonna take care of what are the big name guys. So it's kind of hysterical. I mean, if I'm Dustin Johnson, you're laughing and you'll say, all right, penalize me. I'll take a year off,
Yeah.
whatever, and hang out and I'll come back. So thank you. I know that we were texting about Liv because I don't ever want to talk about that again. So I appreciate being able to, and you are prepped to be able to put this on you. And I
Well,
appreciate
for me, we got to land on lessons learned, and I think it all becomes kind of cynical. It becomes film noir. The systems are corrupt. The systems are corrupted by money, and that's just kind of the reality. Sadly, so I think trying to end on a more positive note, try to find positive lessons learned, try to stay hopeful.
well, we're leading up to the US Open, which should be a fun event.
Yeah.
And I look forward to watching what is a train wreck of Live, PGA, PIF come together. As Rory says, I still hate Live,
Yeah.
but we have no hate in our heart.
No hate in our heart.
And we welcome all. And we did it without talking about Bill, which makes my day.
Phil Mickelson. Yeah. Well, that's the other thing, that no accountability for that MFer.
Mature rating for the live show.
Exactly.
We're going to really bring in some new listeners.
All right. Thanks as always, Tarlin. Thanks for our listeners. We are back, running it back. Let us know how we're doing. We'll be back with more soon. Thanks as always for listening.
Peace.